Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. What a roller coaster it has been over the past few days with regard to Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike, and now two new potential striker targets for Newcastle United that we're going to get into all of in this video. But first, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Posting pretty much daily content, if not 2 videos a day at the moment, because of how much is going on for Newcastle United. So if you don't want to miss out on any future videos, be sure to subscribe and drop a like if you are enjoying the content. But as I say, it's all started off with Newcastle placing a bid for Ekitike, Liverpool moving for Isak, Newcastle saying Isak's not for sale, Newcastle then pushing to try and get a second bid on Ekitike. Liverpool saying that they're interested in Ekitike. Reports this morning are that Newcastle's move for Ekitike is now off. It's been a weird one. What I will say is try and enjoy the roller coaster ride. There was parts this week that I did not enjoy. Isak to Liverpool reports were not very fun. However, let's not forget that 5-6 years ago we were protesting outside of the football stadium, not wanting to buy drinks inside the ground because the money went to the owner. There was so much to be unhappy about. Sitting here this morning, having a £200 million striker in Alexander Isak getting linked to £80 million Ekitike, two more strikers that I'm about to talk about. Try and take a deep breath and enjoy it for what it is. But as I say, it has been stressful for many Newcastle fans, absolutely. But at this time of recording, reports this morning are that Newcastle have essentially pulled back on the deal for Ekitike. I will say that I would certainly rather have Isak than Ekitike. However, I will not lie and say that I was very excited on the prospect of potentially having both of them players at the club. The reports are, and look, it's made out to be, and I think it's possibly part of it, but the idea that Liverpool couldn't get Isak, so now they've changed their attention to Ekitike as well, which I have to say I think's odd. From the outside in, surely Liverpool let Newcastle do whatever they want. Yeah, they can have, if they're going to go for Ekitike, that's absolutely great. Once Newcastle have Isak and Ekitike, they can then try and make their move for Alexander Isak, because at that point, surely Newcastle have got two strikers. In what world would them purchasing Ekitike make it more likely for us to sell them Isak? It doesn't add up. What I would like to happen is for us to go, well, you know what, if we get Ekitike, then maybe we'll talk Isak, we'll buy Ekitike, and then go, nah, actually, don't worry about that one. And then we'll have them both. So that's what I was hoping was going to happen. But the reports seem to be along the lines of Newcastle were in talks with Ekitike, things were running nicely, we were in talks with the player over personal terms, we were in talks over a bid. We have potentially, I would think that we have basically put a bid on the table and gone, look, that's where we are now. We're going to bog off and look at some other stuff, because the hope was Newcastle would try and get it done quickly. There was talks of potentially, about Manchester United wanting to be involved. Now the talks are, and possibly Hugo Ekitike's agent's got his ears out listening. Ooh, Liverpool are interested. Well, maybe we should ask for some more. Maybe we should ask for this. Because as soon as people start getting involved, it slowed it down. And the reports are that Newcastle wanted it done quickly. Well, what all of this has done is probably made Frankfurt go, oh, well, actually, maybe we can hold out for that €100 million release clause. Hugo Ekitike's agent going, well, maybe we can hold out for more wages. So I'll be interested to see if Liverpool do go and buy him, because I don't actually know. I don't know if they are all that interested, or if it was just part of this kind of like charade on how they're going to do this and get this player and do that player. I mean, if Liverpool get him, then, all good luck to them. I guess it's kind of worked out. They didn't actually get the player they wanted, but I suppose they have got a very talented striker in Ekitike. But yeah, it's kind of all played out a bit weird. I would probably think that Newcastle haven't, it's off, get out or whatever. More the case of, well, we were having a great talk here. If you want to start playing, silly, then that's fine. You go and explore other options. But here's our offer. If you want to talk to us about it again, let us know. And in the meantime, we will have a look at some other options. Oops, as I drop my coaster onto my camera. So one of those, reports today are that Newcastle, I'll talk about this one first. So TalkSport are reporting that Sesko, RB Leipzig striker, is on Newcastle's list of potential options outside of Hugo Ekitike, which I like. It's a player that we have been linked with previously. He scored, how many scores did he score? He scored, was it 20, 21, 22 goals last season for RB Leipzig. Just 22 years old. We've been linked to him previously. He's been linked to Arsenal. He's been linked to Manchester United. He's been linked to a move to the Premier League. Does he necessarily want to move after the success he's been having over there? We're not sure. Would he be tempted by a move to a Premier League side? Quite possibly. And I think it's a player that we've talked a little bit about in the past. Sesko is a name that Newcastle have been linked with previously throughout other windows. And what's similar to Hugo Ekitike at the time was probably a far shorter fee than the one that's being touted for the player now. So let me know your thoughts on Sesko as an opportunity. I think that it's probably closer to, I guess, what Ekitike was in terms of that deal. He's a young player. He'll come in. He's already very established, a very talented player, but will grow to be better, and will continue to, I guess, be still young, but still able to learn behind Isak, interchange, both, not exactly the same type of player, and gives Newcastle that little bit of an option there. So if you like the idea of a Sesko joining Newcastle, drop a like on this video. Be interested to know what fee would be attached to him, because I don't imagine it would be a short one. And then the other striker who I would actively say is being talked about a little bit more, Owen Steen talking about this one this morning, Keith Downey, Sky Sports, and Craig Hope at the Daily Mail, all reporting that Newcastle, who had been linked with him a little bit previously, but are now, following the Ekitike business, are focusing their attention to Brentford's Wissa. So we did mention this one a few weeks ago. At the time, Wissa was pretty much released as an option alongside Ekitike. It was kind of one of those. Do you go for the young striker who will come in, embed, or do you just go for a Premier League proven, what I would argue was really a backup to Isak, not a play alongside? And you know what, and that is no disrespect to Wissa, because we'll come on to us in a second on the fact that he scored close to 30 goals in the last 2 seasons in the Premier League, which is pretty damn good numbers. But just his profile is different, so we'll come back to Wissa. Sesko, Ekitike, for me, are like younger players. Look, if Isak wants to leave in a year, 2 years, Barcelona, Real Madrid, we've been having these conversations all week. These guys will probably come in and could play for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Wissa's a bit different. What he brings is immediate Premier League experience, and he can potentially fit into Newcastle's side straight away. What he will likely be, as I say, rotate with. We're going to offer him Champions League, going to offer him Premier League, going to offer him Cup football. But I don't think the intention with Wissa isn't to bring him in, embed him, and then he'll play for us for the next 10 years. He's 28, turning 29. It shouts more of a backup rotation striker, which again works absolutely fine, because if Isak, as we know at the end of last season, I wasn't sure if it was injuries or getting a bit tired, but if he's not playing at his full potential, we're looking at Callum Wilson, looking at Asula, players that really at that stage weren't impacting the game the way we wanted to. I think Wissa could easily step in and do a great job. The trouble with him is, as I say, 28, 29 years old, well outside of the profile that Newcastle actually go for. Newcastle very rarely are seeming to buy. Well, having said that, I suppose we bought Dan Burn. How old was he? 28, 29. So yeah, it's not outside the realms of possibility. But you look at Gordon, Isak, Barnes, Hall, Livramento, like young 21-year-old guys. Wissa, 28. I think because of the difference in profile, for me, it is just to come in, steady Eddie. He'll come in, he'll score goals, he'll be great, hopefully, without too much adapting to the Premier League or whatever. And if you're getting him on like a 2-3 year deal, we won't have any sell-on fee, really. Like EKITIKE, 80 million. But similar to Isak, he could be worth 150 million in 2 years' time. We spent 70 million on Isak, he's worth 150 plus now. If we spend 20, 25, 30 million on Wissa for a player who will play for 3 years, hopefully score goals, and at the end of those 3 years, maybe give him a 1-year extension, try and sell him for 10, 15 million. Like, so essentially you would pay 20 million to have Wissa at the club for 3 years. You know, it isn't the model of bring them in young, sell them for more, but like that kind of fee I can get behind because again, it's quick, it's easy, he knows what he's doing, he'll score goals. The trouble, however, is that Brentford, and the reports are that Newcastle are open in talks with Brentford for Wissa, yet to submit a formal bid. And I think it's probably because we're asking them the question, how much do you want? Because the reports were that Spurs were very, very interested in, was it Spurs? I can't remember now. Somebody wanted Wissa, that it wasn't us. I think it was Spurs. And the fee they were reportedly asking for was 50 million. And at that point, we're not going to see that money again. Like in 3 years' time, you might sell him for 10 million. So it's a one of those. It really depends on what Newcastle are looking for. If we're looking for immediate impact this season because we want a proven player, Champions League, get Wissa in, let's start rocking and rolling. It just means in 2 years' time we'll look back and go, ooh, that was a fair outlay for a player that we've only had for 2 years and now we can't sell on for any more. So yeah, here's me trying to make sense of football and money. I don't think anyone can understand that one. But let me know your thoughts down below on those two. If Sesko or Wissa is a win for you, drop a like on this video. Thoughts and comments on kind of how the EKITIKE stuff played out. I don't know, the deal is off, but I still hold maybe a small candle light in the hope that maybe it isn't off. It's just that, or maybe Newcastle are playing their own cards. All right, you know what? EKITIKE doesn't want to talk, that's fine, we're going to talk to Wissa. By the way, David Ornstein, can you post a report saying that we're like Wissa now? And then all of a sudden, Frank are going, oh no, well, Liverpool never submitted a bid, and actually we do want to sell him to you. So, like, the games are flying here. But thoughts and comments down below on all three of those players. And yeah, enjoy the sunshine because it is beaming outside. About to head out. Got to do some work this afternoon, unfortunately. But it's all fun and games. Right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you later.